everybody, it's Dave, Blue Jacket 66. Headed my cross-state drive to Kansas City to meet Mike, baseball collector, who is going to and has purchased the remainder of what was once a glorious and iconic sports card collection. It's something that had to happen. To be brief, my collecting with my dad started in the mid-1970s, and he always kept this collection, for the most part, at our old house up in what we called the fourth bedroom, which was probably a finished attic. It wasn't air. It was hot up there, and he had his kitchen or his nook over the bay window, and that's where he did all his stuff. That was his little man cave there. And then in 1982, we moved to this residence, which we'll be visiting, and that's where the collection really started blooming more and more. And we finished part of the downstairs basement, carpeted, did the walls, and at one point it was just that room was absolutely glorious with beautiful pictures, autographs, a fantastic display of Heartland statues, and set after set and binders. This big, huge work desk. Actually, I had two work desks down there that looked quite disarray, but you would just walk over to the desk and pick up something monumental. But and the binders were sets, T205, T206, 1915 Cracker Jack, on and on and on. But eventually, as he retired in 1996, he had Mr. Mint, Al Rosen, come over, who spent 2 or 3 full days there. Not necessarily cherry picking, because my dad wouldn't allow him to cherry pick, but he bought an enormous amount of the collection. And it was probably the worst time in the world to sell, but my dad did. At that point in my life, was just starting my career and had moved to St. Louis, but was part of that. And my dad deserved all the fruits of his labor, and he was retiring, and I was happy. Don't get me wrong, even though he sold out to Mr. Mint, he retained a collection that would make all of us, drool. But what he did from then on is just kind of start all over again. Maybe with a little bit of a different interest and slant, but nonetheless started all over again. And when he passed away in 2012, that anteroom, his man cave, the first of the man caves, remained, and in the back basement, which is clogged and filled with everything imaginable. Now, clearly in a dank, dark basement, you're not keeping high value stuff back in that part of the basement. But I, over the years, completely cleared out the anteroom, with the exception of some small stuff, just small stuff, as you'll see. There's really nothing left in there. It's essentially vacant. And then over the last 10 years, I've also wandered down to the dark part of the basement and gone through stuff, not diligently, but, 11 years. I mean, just periodically in town and cherry picking or pulling stuff, or cases of this, cases of that. And some good stuff. But now, my mom's in memory care and has been for a couple years. The house has just sat there, which is never good. And thankfully, my niece and her husband and brand new baby are buying my mother's house, which is just a blessing. But so we will go to the house, and the house is cleared out, and they're putting new floors and carpeting, and I think they're painting, and the sale on that house isn't complete yet, but they can move in at any time, even before we finish selling it to them. But that basement's got, they have a new family. It's got to go. And there's a shitload of stuff. I told Mike that I equate it to what's left in the back basement as, you know, back in the mid-1800s, they discovered gold in California, and there's gold nuggets for the picking. Easy money. And then after a while, it's not just gold nuggets laying on the ground for you to put in your pocket. You have to do a little bit of mining to make your fortune. And then eventually the gold is quote-unquote dried up and everybody moves away, but there's still gold there. There's dust, and people pan for it and work very, very hard and diligently and make a little bit of money out of it. That's kind of where we're at with the basement. It's a skeleton of itself, but there's still memories there. There is still some interesting stuff there. There's a lot of junk, but there's value there. And so I agreed to let Mike come in. He's the only one I would let come in. There's nobody been in that basement other than Al Rosen in 1995 to look over stuff other than myself, who's, believe me, I have eaten the chicken to the bone. But there's still a lot of stuff there, and there's still money to be made for people that have the patience, the Warrenthal, and the deliberation to gather the stuff, to sort the stuff, and have the ability to sell the stuff. That's not me. I have zero interest. I would rather than do that, get an 8 by 20 foot dumpster and just have it all brought out there. That's the truth. I do not want to sell things $50 at a time, $200 at a time, $1 at a time. So I would not have done this to Mike if I thought, I'm not sure if the value is there with the price I asked. The value is not there walking in and finding 15 items that are that's just not the way it's gonna work. And I picked it over. But there is multiples of profit there with the time and the intent on searching through it, organizing it, and having the ability to sell it and the means to sell it. Could he make 100 times? No. Could he make 20 times? Very well. I mean, I don't know what's all left down there, I'll be honest. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I dug. And a lot of nights I dug into the early morning hours. But there's a lot of... But when it comes to knowing what was there, and then going back, and the chicken's off the bone, and I see an 800 count box of 71 tops, I have zero interest in it. None. I passed it by just like I would an old magazine. Now, so that's what's there. There will be boxes of 75 tops. There will be junk wax. There will be nuggets here and there. There's sets out the wazoo, and some of the sets I remember picked, and it's written right on the box. 82 tops, no Ripken, because I pulled the Ripken a long time ago. There's hundreds of sets. Modern in the sense that they're junk wax type sets, although that there's a lot of loose cards and a lot of interesting stuff. So it will be interesting. It's with some degree of trepidation that, but I guess all things must pass. So I came home and found a bunch of squatters in my basement. Digging through stuff. I hear there's no way to get them out once you get them in here.
Eminent domain, eminent domain. That's high praise for me.
What'd you find? Some 72s, Chris?
72s, and they're all in really good shape.
How many of them are there?
Oh, enough to make about 5 sets.
Nice.
Hey, I opened 81 Coca-Cola Royals.
Oh, nice.
Like, there's just a drawer full of them.
Do you still have that Cecil Cooper and Gorman Thomas stuff out, Brent?
Yeah.
Look over here, Mike. Tell us what these are.
I've never seen that.
JT's putting together boxes.
I couldn't read it.
I don't know if these are going with Mike or not. These are a bunch of old stamps.
All right, how are you guys doing? What did you say you're consolidating?
Consolidating. This is our trash pile.
So that's your way of saying you put that shit over there, over here. Is that what you've been doing all day long?
That's all
All
we've been doing.
All right.
It's just moving from one area to another.
What is the most surprise? What's the big surprise you found? Any big surprises?
You found Nielsen's chocolate Roger Hornsby.
Yeah, you found some T206s.
T206s. We found I mean, your dad collected everything. So it's a lot of coins. And what do you guys? I mean, there's plenty of.
You got a lot of you got a lot of vintage exhibits. You have tons of old publications, right? You got some pretty cool pictures here too.
Yeah.
The autographed Joe. And you got a huge stack of. I don't know how you're going to get all this in a U-Haul, but.
We gotta figure it out.
So back at the hotel here for a little bit. It's, I don't know, 6 o'clock. So we spent today, I guess about 6 hours down there in the basement. I think they did a good job. They got a lot accomplished. Good amount of sorting. Can't go through everything, but got a lot of stuff moved. I'm very happy because we cleared, especially in this back shelf area, all the shelves off. So I think that so far, Mike will be way ahead, which makes me very happy. I think he asked me why him, and the reason is because he's interested in the story about why we're there, how these cards got there, about the collection. So that I didn't tell him that, but that's one of the main reasons why, is because more than the stuff, he was interested in the story. So I wanted him to have this stuff. I'm being paid generously for it, but that's not really the point. So it was a lot of fun. Tomorrow is when they're really going to be hauling stuff out, renting a big truck. But I found some good stuff down there too. My deal was, and I arrived before them, the cash was in my hand, and then from then on, he owns it if it's sports related. So he put a lot of cash in my hand, and while they're dinging around in there, I just was on a shelf finding gold, and I would just give it to him. I found a lot of gold that I hadn't seen before, just while they were completely in a different room, but it was his, so it went to them. So I'm making him pay for my barbecue ribs tonight. Gonna go to Zarda Barbecue. Tomorrow we'll be back over there. I'm gonna go leave them for a few hours and go visit my mother and take her out to lunch. And I don't know, we may get this wrapped up tomorrow. But I found some things that were non-sport related that are cool. I found some good Star Wars stuff, some Hershey's Star Wars that are cool, and some other stuff that don't think I want to talk about, but I had found some huge surprises for myself. So we're going to go have some barbecue and then hang out a little bit and see how it goes tomorrow, but having a great time.